Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today, we are talking about getting your tax forms from Veho. So as with a lot of companies, Veho is required to send tax forms to certain drivers and operates very differently than a W-2 job. And not knowing some of the nuances about that can lead to a lot of confusion and panic, and especially if you don't know where to look or if you're not prepared. So with that said, we are talking about everything you must know about getting your tax forms on Veho, what they tell you versus how it actually is, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. Also, thank you to GigTax for verifying this information and making this video possible. First and foremost, I need to address something very concerning about Veho as a platform. There is no information on their website addressing taxes. Usually, gig companies will have some kind of information in regards to this, but nope, nothing on Veho, which is odd to say the least, and I know that their website has a lot to be desired, like being less obvious that it's a Google website and getting a proper domain name for drivers, but it is what it is. Routable, the payment processing company that pays us for the work we do with Veho, is a company known as Routable, which will be the one requesting your tax information via W-9. They seem to ask for it multiple times, including not only when you start, but during the next tax season, which is odd, but it is what it is, which makes me wonder if they're storing it or just filling out forms and deleting the information. Who knows? Which one would I rather? I don't have a particular preference, but I know a lot of people would be happy to know that their information is wiped clean and not stored someplace for someone to hack in and take it. Either way, I filled out the W-9. They emailed me back and saying that there's no further information at this time. Track 1099. Now, when you get the form, it won't be from Routable. It will be from a company called Track 1099. Why does it have to be separate companies? That's a really good question. I don't have an answer for it. But either way, when you get the form, it's not going to say it's from Veho. It's going to say it's from Spruce Transportations LLC, which is still Veho, but it's under its business identity or its LLC name. Now, the email will give you a link and a button to where you could type in your SSI or EIN or however you decide to file as, and then you will have access to your 1099. The link itself will be active for 10 months, which is more than enough for you to download it for tax season. If you got in January and the taxes are due in April, that's 3 months, and you have it for 10 months, you're fine. If you need it again for any reason, you can email Veho at support@shipveho.com and request for a new link. However, you guys are big boys and girls running your own business and such. I'm sure you could download it in a reasonable amount of time and do your taxes. Either way, I do have a few side notes that I would like to go over on this subject. Mileage and expense tracking apps. As an independent contractor, you are responsible for keeping track of your earnings and accurately reporting them in tax filings. Veho only provides breakdowns of income and occupational accident insurance in earnings summaries, not during the tax year. Not to mention, the mileage of these routes can really rack up, so tracking is going to be vital. These apps can not only save you a bunch of money during tax season, but if implemented properly, can end up saving you a lot of time and stress during tax season. There have been a lot of mileage tracking and expense tracking apps that have popped up over the years, and some of which are even developed by gig workers. Everlance, MileIQ, QuickBooks Self-Employed, Solo, Para. The list can really go on for days, and there are varying pros, cons, and price points for each of them. I will make some videos breaking down each of them in the future, but either way, it's going to be vital to have one of these for yourself and not wait until the last day of the year to figure out how many miles you drove for work. Standard mileage rate versus actual expense method. In a lot of cases, the actual expense method won't be as beneficial to gig gig workers, but that doesn't mean there won't be use for it. So the standard mileage rate is where you would deduct a certain amount of money each year based on the amount of miles you drove. Each year is going to be a little different based on what the IRS provides. For 2023, it's 65.5 cents per mile driven for business purposes. And for 2024, it will be 67 cents per mile driven for business purposes. But that's going to change from year to year, and things will be different every time. The actual expense method is exactly as it sounds, where you deduct the actual expenses that you incurred upon the vehicle based on the percent of business use for the vehicle itself. In a lot of cases, the actual expense method won't be as beneficial to gig workers, but that doesn't mean there won't be a year where you won't use it if the amount you would deduct would be higher that way. If you need to know more details on the subject so you won't end up in trouble during tax season this year or next year, whenever, I made a video talking about the two methods on the subject. Feel free to check them out. Either way, tracking mileage must be done. Of course, for the standard mileage deduction, but also to know the percentage use of your vehicle for business when talking about the actual expense method. This isn't the case if you have a vehicle that you would only use for Veho or other gig work, but most of us also have our vehicles available for personal use. Joseph Mayo, founder of GigTax. Don't be that guy. Now, there is a lot of people who see stuff like this and they pretty much write off anything and everything as a tax write-off because they claim it's for business purposes, when in reality, you're not doing that kind of driving for business purposes. You're doing it for your own personal crap. This can get you in a lot of trouble with the IRS, and the last thing you want is to end up audited. Or you don't really want to pay for an app service to track your mileage and expenses, so you guesstimate the number and hope you aren't losing too much money in write-offs. Which I really don't understand why people would do that, because why wouldn't you spend a few bucks a month on a tracker to save thousands on your tax return? So do yourself a favor, don't be that guy. Working with a tax professional. One of the best decisions that have saved me a bunch of time, energy, and tax dollars was to begin working with a tax professional to help me with my taxes so I could focus on making the most amount of my working time towards gig work and growing my business. I know for a lot of people this could be expensive and can cost you a lot, especially if you got a lot of 1099s and you're going to the wrong people, which is why GigTax is here to help. Tax season is inevitable. And for every hour spent navigating tax season alone, you miss out on potential earnings, precious moments with loved ones, and expose yourself to financial risks. Recognized as the leading tax preparation service for gig workers, GigTax is dedicated to simplifying the process, saving you time, energy, and money. Founded by Joseph Mayo, a seasoned gig worker with 6,000 deliveries across 6 platforms since 2020, GigTax addresses the overlooked, overcharged, and underserved needs of gig workers in the financial realm. Driven Wyld subscribers can take advantage of an exclusive 60% discount on GigTax's tax prep, and if you act now, the first 3 registrations include complimentary tax preparation. Hold on, let me say that again, just in case I wasn't clear about it. Professional tax prep tailored to your needs. Absolutely free! Secure your spot today with GigTax using the link in the description to register and enter Wyld to maximize your savings and get back to what you do best. Making the most amount of money in the least amount of time in the safest possible way. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.